Episode 14. 5 chapters remaining for the crystal roundup, but I think they should be faster than whatever I was doing in chapter 1, since there should be less crystals and also less reasons for me to go off the beaten path, since I don't really know of any Easter eggs in these other levels. Of course, I didn't find any Easter egg in chapter 1, but I think it was somewhere along that path that I was exploring, just a bit further in. Just couldn't really remember it from the video that I saw. I'm sure if you were to search something for the Easter eggs in this game, you'd be able to find what I was trying to look for. First crystal that I'm missing is something that I wouldn't have heard somewhere around here. In the mist. You can hear it once you're this close, but obviously wouldn't see it from the distance. I guess the only way that you might have known would have been this perhaps obviously platformable geometry, which is closely spaced together, enough so that you would be able to think, I can reach that area with just my normal abilities. Guess we don't really need the ship. Probably just slower. I feel as though the boost, when you have 3 of them with low gravity and everything, somehow they're less punchy than the boosts when you only have 2 of them at low gravity, or higher gravity. I don't know why. Maybe they're the same boost and I'm just not realizing it. That's probably the answer. I can't imagine why they'd be lesser boosts when you have lower gravity. See, after that crystal, checking my notes. Smudge them. Well, there should be only one more in this area, and actually, it's an obvious one. Oof. Didn't get as much pull from that grapple as I wanted. Guess I shouldn't be surprised that I didn't really get a checkpoint. Last time we just rode the ship all the way there. I won't say it's impossible for there to be something like an Easter egg up there, but There are limitations to how far you can go even with the grapple. Have to wonder though. Of course there are glitches. Turning that on shouldn't do anything, since I already have the low gravity and everything. The thing that I missed, which I actually commented on in the original video, when I went through this level the first time, is that it's all the way up there. I guess my sense of exploration wasn't piqued enough by the low gravity that I thought to actually start climbing up. But looking at it now, it does seem like something that would be totally doable with the low gravity and basic climbing. I guess this is the route that you would have used, climbing your way up normally. And actually, might be hard to go up there using the grappling hook, at least for me. Grappling hook is fast, but it's hard to conserve stamina. You can do it, it's more efficient to conserve stamina with a hook. It's just hard for me to angle, I think. This wasn't it, was it? I'll try to survive that. How would you have made your way up? No, even with the grappling hook, I'm not sure how you'd make your way up. That certainly seems like something. The video I watched, I didn't actually watch all the way how it climbed all the way up here. Just noted that it was on top of this structure. It does seem like the only way up, that central platform. Let's have another look. Could you maybe jump your way there, even without the boost? I'm not sure how you do this with the basic set of abilities, even with lowered gravity. Well, from here, if you somehow manage to make your way to this platform, I don't know how, we have to go to here, and then on top of this. Then I suppose climb along this wall. With lowered gravity, maybe make your way onto here? No. Are you perhaps meant to do this with lowered gravity? Make your way onto this wall, and then what? I've got nothing. Oh no. Checkpoint's down here. You might have to pause to look up that video, how you get up there. That's too much. Too much stamina usage. Oh, that wasn't enough for the boost. This might take me a while. It should be trivial now that I have the grappling hook. I'm not sure what the actual route would have been. How on earth did I make it there the first time anyway? Problem with the grappling hook, of course. And I can hear the crystal, I think. Right around now. Was it below here? Along the outside, maybe? Really should have watched more of that video. Didn't think it would take this long for this chapter. Oh, here it was. Thought it was on top of the structure, but it was in this alcove. So knowing what I know now, if you'd made your way to that platform, you could climb up that, along this wall, and then to this ledge, and make your way across to this crystal. But as for how you reach that platform, I will have to actually watch that video again, this time paying attention to how they got there without any special abilities. Again, turn that found video for anyone who didn't catch it the first time. Not that anyone other than me is watching this. Maybe 10 years from now I'll thank myself for pointing myself towards a collectibles video that I can watch if I'm feeling nostalgic for this game. Beautiful place, huh? Undercity, only missing 2 crystals, I think, here. Yes, and I know exactly where they are. Just checking my notes. Right. An area that I thought about exploring during the playthrough that I had, but never actually went down to. Oh, I need that. I've botched it. Yeah, the opening cutscene here got me thinking again. Our character, the android, whose name is not Lorn, obviously, finds a beautiful place, spends 5 years there, but not finding anything in terms of a way out, then heads even further down into this abyss. I think that mirrors the beginning of the game, where we know from their narration that they started out in a kind of idyllic location. Something that the final boss, or whatever you would call that, points out. A place that most people climb to, spending like their entire lives, or even dying in search for. The paradise that this android came from. There's probably some kind of coherent theme going on there, I think. How this consistent climb downwards is just getting deeper and deeper into a hole that you can't escape from. A hole with some allure to it, but at the end, there's nothing to really find in it. Only disappointment. The lure of the forlorn, or whatever. Maybe finding these scannables in these chapters off the beaten path are kind of the antithesis of that consistent climb downwards. All of the scannables that you find point out some more lore towards the wider world. And much of that lore has to do with the observers who are trying to find a better life or something. Those observers, as far as we know, meet a grisly end, each and every one. But some of the lore that you find later does at least point to, I don't know, at least some glimmer of hope, maybe? I'm mainly thinking about the one scannable in the Foundation. It points towards the potential of growing crops in the natural biome. The observers, of course, are looking for a biome, since their own artificial biomes are failing, it sounds like. They'd probably kill for the chance to reach whatever paradise Lorn, not Lorn, the android, came from. Barring that, they at least have the opportunity to reach further down into the Foundation, where that natural biome is, even if the plant life there is mostly extinct. It seems like a lot of the observer teams met their ends either through paranoia, mostly thinking about the Chapter 3 lore, or through some awkward happenstance with whatever this megastructure's hostile environment entails. And of course, there's the party that made it all the way down to the sunken city, only to find nothing worthwhile down there. I'll just say that I think a lot of the message of the game, if there is a message, is pointing towards a more... what's the word? Not carefree, but well, barring a better word that I can't think of right now, it's about kind of having a carefree take on life. One that doesn't concern itself too much with something, with ideas that you can't really obtain. Something at the bottom of this structure is supposedly some form of enlightenment, but everyone that searched for it, only found misery and despair. Same thing with our main character, the android. Could have stopped anywhere on their path downwards. Sure, the places they found weren't really all that great places to live, especially if their power core was going to run out. But it was better than whatever they found deeper and deeper in. They found a checkpoint in the aqueduct, right before that cutscene. Spent 5 years there. Could have spent their entire lives in that quote-unquote beautiful place. But even after finding that, they decided to spend their lives trying to chase after the bird. That wasn't enough to get my stamina. Actually, I don't have 3 boosts. I guess I don't have lower gravity in this stage. Is my jump height still better than what it was before? Maybe they just give you the grappling hook with the normal gravity in this stage for whatever reason. Going back to the previous thought, the android could have also chosen to stop at this point, here in the Undercity where there were at least other living people. They didn't have any food to survive very long. But it might have been a better fate than going even further down. I'm sure I've said that before, but thinking about how this game ends, I think there's more truth to that than I realized when I first voiced that thought. It's actually hard to use the grapple to get onto a ledge above you. Grapple really only brings you up level with the ledge, not really enough to clamber onto it. Like if I were below this pipe and wanted to get on top of it, I would need to grapple onto something higher than the pipe itself. There's probably a way to do it. I'm just not really very adept at using the hook in that way. Actually testing it out with this thing, it's not that hard to do what I just said. It's just take some positioning and proper use of the momentum. Didn't look like I clamber onto this, but with the right angle, you should be able to get your way on top of it. Like that. It looks like it should be easy enough with practice, but for me it's just kind of hard to do. Some quality of it. It'd be a good skill to have if you're trying to speedrun. But for my purposes, I'm only here for the crystals, so I shouldn't worry too much about it. Now we collected that crystal down there. And of course we can skip most of this level with the boost already unlocked and the grapple. And the collectible I was missing, the two collectibles, were all the way down there. Guess you can just barely see it. That's it, isn't it? It blends in with the rest of the flickering lights. In fact, you can only see it if you scan in from way up here. That's a pretty mean one if you were trying to find all the crystals on your own. But I guess the way you would find it would be by somehow making your way around here with the boost and sliding down the pipe. I would say this is kind of a skill that you get a little bit later on. Using the boost with the very, very steep ledges to survive a fall very far down. You only just unlock the boost at this point, so making your way down here is probably pretty hard. Or maybe not. Could just be me. Damn. Gonna have to be careful with that. Or I can just be not careful. This is what I call a Dark Souls moment. In Dark Souls, there's almost always some kind of area that you can see from way up high. Something like the bottom of a canyon, which is pretty nondescript or something. And you look down there and think, it's so untextured and nondescript. There's no reason for me to go down there, and there's no way I'd go down there. But lo and behold, the Dark Souls thing is, for some reason, there's a way to go down there. And there's usually some kind of boss in the bottom of that gorge or nondescript pit or whatever. In this case it's for a collectible, but still. The idea is that you go down to some area that looks unintended, but it ends up being intended. This here is another example of, I guess, a skill that I wouldn't think you would necessarily have until you're ready for it later on in the game. You'd have to somehow know to make your way up this very steep incline with the boost. It's not that hard once you know you have that ability, or that the game mechanics allow you to do such a thing. But if you're trying to get all the crystals on your first run through a level, I can't imagine knowing you'd be able to do this. But everyone learns at some point, I guess. Maybe some people learned in their first run through a level. Honestly. Alright. 2. There we go. Alright, that one didn't take as long as I hoped, or as long as I thought it might. Only a few more. Let's go ahead and load in. Checking my notes again here in chapter 6. Missing 4 crystals, and actually missing 4 crystals in the remaining 3 chapters as well. What I've listed are, I think, oh yeah, 2, 3, 6, and 11. Maybe number 4. The one in the wind, the one under the shack, the one in the swampy area, which gave me a lot of aggravation, my first run through. And then the last one all the way at the end of the level, which would have saved me some time now if I thought to go and knock it then. Well, I guess this is just a chance for me to go to a level with these abilities. Surprisingly, you can grapple onto the sand. But it'd be annoying if you couldn't, wouldn't it? I wonder where all this sand comes from. For there to be a constant stream of it for presumably years, centuries even. Oh no, please don't take me all the way. That's the crystal I'm missing. Okay. I'll just be careful and ride along the side of the wall here. This one, even with the grapple, I'm not sure how you'd get it safely. Seems like it's pretty hard to fight the wind even with that grapple. Suppose what we'll do is try to stay low. Alright, the wind is pushing us. I guess what you're supposed to do, if I can get this right, is just drop off this ledge and kind of hope the wind takes you there. Yeah, even with the grappling hook. I don't really know. I guess maybe you have to hold forward on the control stick to angle yourself just right for that. Next one I'm missing should be in a shack. Not that way? Okay. Were we actually headed down? We might have been headed... this way? Uh-oh. Well, that's not fair. What are you supposed to do? Maybe you can't reach this place if you don't have the grappling hook. Or was this part of the critical pass? I don't remember. Doesn't seem like it. I think I'm in the wrong place. Unless this was the critical pass? I don't remember. Seems unfortunate that there's like a run-ending area you can get stuck in by the wind. I guess that's not too different from any other drop that might kill you if you position yourself wrong. Still weird to think about. Right. Oh, that's unfortunate. Thought that'd give me more distance. Guess we'll just use the grappling hook. I only watch clips of a speedrun using these unlocked abilities. It seemed like the fastest way they were using for movement would have been just aiming at the ground with a grappling hook like this. At least when on level ground. Luckily we don't have to worry about this drop too much. Wait, is this the right drop? I guess we're going over this way. Yes, I think we just slid down the wall, mainly. Unless... No, this doesn't look right. Surprised I haven't gotten a black screen yet. Even with all these abilities, not all of the level is going to be explorable, surely. Still curious though how far you go. And the bottom is just a pit. Alright, meaningless waste of time. I'll just call it taking in the sights. Some views of this game you can only see by exploring the meaningless geometry. Really? The wind killed me there. Oh man, I think it's the gravity. 1 second. 1, 2. Yes, only 2 boosts, so we're still in high gravity. I think that's one of the problems I'm having. With the grappling hook, I'm used to a certain distance afforded by the low gravity in the final level. A distance that allows you to survive lethal fall damage. But in places where the gravity is high like this, I have to adjust for even less distance to the ground before damage becomes lethal. It was here, wasn't it? The crystal I was missing. There. That annoying shack. Spent a long time looking around the area. Never searched under the ramp. Again, the kind of hidden crystal I have the most trouble with. Next one I'm missing, according to my notes. Be either in the hole or in the swamp. And it should be in the swamp. Don't think it was the hole. Then what do we do here? Are we just sliding down? Honestly, this would be a completely different game, going through it entirely with a grappling hook. It'd probably be a more high-speed focused game, I guess. And there's nothing wrong with the way the game is now. Oh, that's the wrong way. This way? Right. It's just interesting that they only give you this ability at the very end. Obviously, it's not something they want you to have early on because most of the game is about an intimate relationship with the geometry, planning out your parkour jumps and moves in a way that makes sense with how much stamina you have, what you're able to do. This grappling hook style is more about high octane, high speed, more instinctual kind of platforming. At least in my eyes. Ah, and here we go. We can just drop down now. So I did already get that crystal. Actually, where's the bird? Since we didn't take the critical pass, did we not trigger it to come down here? Not that it matters. And thinking about it, why a bird? What is it about the bird that relates to whatever we were lured towards? At this point, I still don't know why we were lured. Perhaps I should know based on whatever lore cues were available. Or maybe that's just another secret of the game, meant to provoke questions based on what you can find out through the scannable entries and your own understanding and intuition. Are we going up, or... I guess so. And back down. There were a Lorn's lore too, or whatever. I can either see them expanding on the ideas of this first game, with all of that gameplay that I mentioned, surrounding the judicious use of your stamina and planning out your jumps. Or it could go in an entirely different direction, giving you things like this grappling hook from the outset, and building an entire game around a moveset like that. It would of course be completely different from this first game, but a lot of sequels in certain game series end up being completely different. The first game, or the second game, being completely different from the first game. Like the difference between Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear. Still within the same universe, and consistent plot between them, but entirely different gameplay. Alright. Now here, the crystal that gave me so much trouble, don't know how I missed it, or if I'm still going to miss it, but if you just hug the left wall, should be somewhere. I've missed it. The video made it seem so easy. think it was just along the left wall, but... let's head back out. Pay attention one more time. We're just hugging the left wall as much as we can, keeping close to the ground. There it is. What an annoying crystal. I think I was down here before, but I never went up into that nook to find it. Right, gravity. Not as much pull from the grappling hook as I expect. Going this way, I think. Actually, the speedrunning tech that I saw in videos might have been grappling towards the ground and pressing the boost button. Yeah, I think that's probably the fastest. Now, the only one I should be leaving or missing now would be at the very end, which shouldn't be too much further on from here. And even with the grappling hook, I think we'll have to climb up most of this structure. Can't just go for the hole straight away. No way up as far as I can tell. Maybe you could grapple your way up onto those ledges one by one, but I don't think I'm good enough for that. My grapple isn't working. Can't grapple this. Unless I have some problem with the bindings. Is that by design? I didn't think there were any surfaces you can't grapple onto. Oh, you can grapple that, just on this part of the wall. That's grappleable too. I wonder. Why is that? Maybe that's unintentional? Oh dear. Well, this is the thing I was talking about last time. Difficulty grappling up onto a ledge, so I'll just boost up. But I feel like there should be an easy way to do it, I'm just not doing it right. Right, can't grapple that. Where were we going? This texture, was it always like this? Right, we were going this way. We can grapple this. So we can go along the outside. There's probably a shorter route than what I'm taking now. But this should get me some checkpoints along the way in case I fall all the way down. Pretty sure this wasn't always textured like this. I think I would have noticed this the first time I was here, unless I didn't actually go this high last time. That's what I'm missing should be at the top right there, and we can see it. You know, the first time we saw those ships flying by, I think I thought this is probably leading into some kind of plot later on. Like maybe we'd meet the other people in the Undercity we're at battle with. That seemed like a kind of battalion flying by. But we never actually figure out what those ships belong to, or what group those ships belong to. I guess you can assume that they're the faction that the Undercity was fighting with. Although I don't recall if they were fighting people above them or below them. Even with the grapple, wind is still a problem here, so I'm gonna be careful about my stamina, I think. Yeah, I can feel it, even with the grapple. Seems like the wind is lesser here. Oh wow, grapple can't even beat the wind there. That's not what I wanted. Damn. Couldn't quite get to that incline. Actually, I guess we don't even have to. If I do that a little bit better, maybe we can just jump our way all the way up. This was a wrong angle. What? Back here? I guess that's the risk you run, not activating the checkpoints. If I stand around here, do I get a checkpoint? Either way, let's be careful on our way up. Oh, this is bad. Shouldn't have been trying to climb up that ledge. Alright, just for activating the checkpoints, let's keep along the critical path. Wherever we can. I hope I got a checkpoint at some point. Anytime I don't use my stamina wisely, I'll very quickly die. Now, hopefully I have a checkpoint up here. Getting up on top of this, I didn't actually watch the video that much, but I would guess it'd be up this way. Maybe. Nope, that's wind. Perhaps up this side? And the wind is just barely blocked off here. And before we end off, one more thing. I did actually want to ride this all the way down. Oh, it's falling faster than us. Thus, wind resistance, I guess? Without the grappling hook, maybe if you were going for a speed run, you could just do a lethal drop into this hole. That's probably what they do. Well, since we're already here, we can go ahead and take a break.